The FV4201 Chieftain is arguably one of the most iconic British main battle tanks to ever enter service. The stereotypes surrounding the Chieftain though are likely what we are all familiar with. The Chieftain was loved for its superb firepower, accuracy of its gun, and excellent armour, but despised for its terrible reliability. While early models of the Chieftain certainly did suffer from engine reliability issues, by the end of its time those issues had largely been ironed out. Sadly though, the reputation of the early L60 engines would haunt it for its entire lifespan. The purpose of the Chieftain was to replace the superb but now outdated Centurion. The theory of the Chieftain was excellent. A 40-ton MBT that had excellent firepower, superb armour, and a multi-fuel engine that would near on eliminate fuel-related logistical issues. However, the reality was very different.
There has been no tampering with the cavalry. In the battles of tomorrow, when all the mechanized vehicles have broken down, and when the petrol dumps have all exploded, then the cavalry will come into their own again.
Life for the Chieftain began 66 years ago, in 1959, when troop trials were held with the Mark I variant. After 8 years of testing, the Mark II variant became available and entered service with the British Army in 1967. In-game, we get a glimpse of this version of the Chieftain. The Mark II version is the stock Tier 3 British Heavy of Era 2. By 1975, the Chieftain had gone through numerous design changes, the majority of which were focused on the L60 engine. The Leyland L60 was an opposed piston, two-stroke multi-fuel engine that in the Mark II variant produced 650 horsepower. By the Mark V variant in 1975, the L60 was capable of producing 750 horsepower. While the L60 engine did improve with time, and many of the reliability issues were fixed, streamlining of maintenance never reached the standards of US tank design. The power pack, for example, in the M60 could be replaced and changed within 2 hours. The L60, however, took many hours more to remove and replace. In-game, when fully upgraded, the Mark V variant is the version we get our hands on in Era 2. The Chieftain does a surprisingly good job of living up to its real-life stereotypes. It's not quick, so that's as close as we get to poor engine reliability, but the turret armour is good and the DPM of the gun is excellent when compared to its Eastern Bloc counterpart, the T-72AV. Historically, the Era 2 Chieftain has not been a showstopper. If anything, it has been lackluster, and that reputation still hangs over it today, despite it now being a viable heavy option in Era 2. Development of the Chieftain did not stop at the Mark V version. Development continued all the way up until 1986 with the Mark X, Mark XI and Mark XII versions. Externally, the noticeable change was the installation of the Steel Brew protection package. The primary purpose of this protection package was to add additional armour to the turret face, so that heat rounds, specifically the Soviet RPG-7, would not penetrate. This additional armour can be seen on the turret face, and it adds an additional 480 to 540mm of armour thickness, at the cost of 2.48 tons to the overall vehicle weight. In game, we have access to the Mark X and the Mark XI versions of the Chieftain, only this time it's Tier 1 of Era 3. The stock Era 3 Chieftain is the Mark X version, which, in reality, was a Mark VII Chieftain, but with the Steel Brew armour protection package installed. When fully upgraded in game, we end up with the Mark XI version, which in reality was a Mark VIII, but with the Steel Brew armour protection package installed. There is not a whole lot of difference between the Mark V and the Mark XI in game. The biggest difference that you will notice when playing is actually nothing to do with the vehicles, it's all to do with their tiers. A good game in the Era 2 Mark V will land you 4th or 5th on the team. The same game in the Mark 11 will land you MVP. This is because the Mark V is top of Era 2 and the Mark 11 is bottom of Era 3. The Mark 11 is noticeably a bottom tier tank. It is slow compared to its tier for tier counterparts, and its front near side lower plate, if hit by an ATGM, is an easy ammo rack. But it does retain one of the highest DPMs for a tier 1 Era 3 heavy in its class. In game, the Chieftains aren't anything to write home about, but they hold a place in the British line and in British military history that will always be iconic. Development of the Chieftain did continue into the Mark 12 and Mark 13 variants, but these were cancelled when the Challenger 1 was introduced, and the Challenger 1 will be the subject of the next video. If you've enjoyed this, please leave it a like, if not a dislike, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.